Good morning from Melbourne, Australia. Good evening to friends in North America, and hello to anyone watching on replay. My name is Nancy Hetker, and I'm an independent demonstrator in Australia. And today I am going to be showing you something new. It's so new, it's not even available to customers yet, just demonstrators on pre-order. It will go on sale to customers early November. I'm not sure the exact date. It's usually the first Tuesday or Wednesday of the month. I think that they release the new online exclusives every other month. And this is Pop-Up Petals. And last week I showed you, I just flipped through the new stuff I'd gotten. Today I'm actually going to make a card with this bundle. A couple of the dies are not on here because I've got them prepped for another card that we're making in my class this weekend. But I'm going to use the pop-up feature on the card we're making today. And yeah, it's an interesting, I suppose you'd call it a mechanism to make this kind of card. Let me show you the sample I made, and then we'll go ahead and make another one. Hello Gladys, thanks for joining me. If you're on here live or on replay, please do say hello. I do see it when people join me either way, and I love to know that. So this is a bookbinding card, which means that it's got an extra score and fold in the front flap, and then this section is stuck down like a kind of like a bookbinding, and then it opens up this way, and this is the pop-up mechanism that these two make. They're different sizes. There really aren't many samples out there that I could find because it is so new. So I just played around with it a bit to figure out what I was doing. And the first thing I discovered was that this does not cut a rectangle. Well, it does cut a rectangle, but it doesn't cut it. It cuts it this way, but it just scores it at those ends. And it scores it in the middle. So that's how you get that pop out feature. So, hi Mom, hi Jenny. Glad you both made it. So I'm going to show you how we make one of these. I'm using up some of my beautiful bouquet designer series paper that is on last chance, I believe at the moment, still here in Australia. And it's a really cool, I like the bokeh effect, which is those faint circles. That's a photography thing where the light filters interestingly. But I like it for backgrounds because you get some shade variation, little texture without it being totally, well, in this case, not totally different colors because it's just the very burst there. But let me set that one aside, and I'm going to bring in some pieces that I have pre-cut. We're going to do the same card. We're just changing up the colors a little bit. I'm going to use the Daffodil Delight on the beautiful bouquet. Yeah, so we're just flipping a couple of the colors. On this one I used Berry Burst and Daffodil Delight, and we're going to flip those two. So same card, different color scheme. So you take a standard card base to make your bookbinding fold. Take your standard card base so it's scored in half, and then you score again so that this flap is a square. So if you're working in A4, that means that this is a 10.5 by 10.5 square. If you're working in inches, it's 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, and then that gives you the bookbinding spot. So there's a score there to be able to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and put on the designer series paper that I pre-cut to fit on there. Yeah. Hey Paula, you haven't really missed anything at all. We're just getting started here. Hi Sarah, thanks for joining me. Like I said, this is this new stamp set and die bundle coming available to customers with the November online exclusives. If you are a demonstrator, you can get it now. That's one of the benefits of being a demonstrator. There's the whole set while I'm gluing this on here. You can see at least some of it here. And even if you don't make these as pop-up cards, I like these images. They're clean. You can use them in any colors you want. Don't know why. I just am. And there we go. Grab some ribbon. Which one do I want? Come here. Can't get it out of my drawer. There we go. Again, I'm just going to use some white ribbon. You can use sticky tape to stick this down. I'm using Terran tape because I'm going to close it shut, and I might as well use the sticky tape to do both. Check and see if I've got it straight. Yep. Okay, so we'll add a little more Terran tape in there. I feel like I've lost my train of thought. So that just closes up then. See? And we'll come in with a little more of that in a little bit. Yeah, so let's do a few other things here. So let's do this. Now, this has these little pointers on each side that shows you where the score is. And just a reminder, this is going to sit in here, and I've cut it 1/2 centimeter, or probably about 1/4 inch if I were working in inches, smaller. So this is a 10 by 10. This is, remember, 10.5 by 10.5. So this would be like 4, and that's 4 1/4, and then by 20 scored in half. So what did I say? 4 or 8 scored in half. And then, so I'm just lining up those 2 pointers on the score line, which helps keeps it straight as well. And I'm going to bring in some Post-it tape to hold it in place. And I'm going to run this through my full-size cut and emboss, and I'll be right back. There we go. And then we just pull that off. And there's our cut. And we just push up in the middle. And fold that closed. And I'm going to bring in my bone folder, which has gone walkabout. Oh, there it is. Just to get those nicely creased. There we go. And I'm not going to put that in yet because I want to finish all my decorating before I glue it in. So, one of the things we can do is I've got, sorry, I have things falling off to the side here. Stay. I've got another strip of designer series paper that fits on there. And I am just going to fold it right in half. Straight and even as I can. And then I'm going to glue it on to there. Just a little bit of sticky from that Post-it tape. It's kind of a new piece. Or my fingers, or both. Okay, so now I'm just going to press that down. And we have our box or vase ready to go. You could put, I think you could put a vase there if you actually wanted to. There are ways to use the vase if you were orienting it differently. I think that would be pretty cool. But we're using it this way. We're doing it kind of like a box. Yeah, so I'm going to set that aside. And we're going to do some stamping. See how much we need here. So these are the colors I'm going to use on here. I've got black for the outline. That's the memento. Berry Burst for the roses, Pretty Peacock for my vase on the front, Bubble Bath for the little tulips, and Grand Apple Green for leaves. So let's see what we're going to do here. Let's start with the vase maybe. One vase. I'm also going to use the Pretty Peacock for my sentiments. Yeah, let's do a bunch of these. So I know that I need 4 roses total. Let's see if we go this way. 1, 2, 3. That's kind of close. And we'll do one over on here. 4. And I think we'll do 3 of these. So how's everyone going where you are? We are having a couple of beautiful spring days. Highs, well, yesterday was what, 20 or 70, and today is going to be 23, so right about 75, which is beautiful, beautiful weather here. Okay, let's do some fill. this is going to stain my brand new stamp set. But it is what it is. I think I know where I'm going with this. That. Oh, almost. That's better. No, that's not much better. We're going to live with it. There we go. They'll be fine. Yeah, see, now my stamp is stained pink. That is just life with photopolymer and anything pink or red, even browns that have a good amount of red in them. That's just how it is. And now granny apple green for my leaves and stems. How'd you do on the bowls, Sarah? When we went to dinner last night, we almost ate outside, but decided it was quiet enough inside and just cool enough and breezy enough outside that we decided to do inside. Okay, there's those. I don't know why, with everything else they put in there, they did not put in a fill for this stem, but they didn't, so I'm just bringing in my blend. Sorry if you don't like the squeak. And obviously, if you don't like lining up the stamps and with the fill, you can just go ahead and color. Where is my little, there it is right there. Practice game, good to practice. Did I tell you I watched them playing some version of bowls when I was in Copenhagen? Just sat in the park and they've got a whole bunch of public, what are they, bowling greens? Paula's going, what is all this bowls? It's bocce, Paula, bocce. My Italian friend. I left off coloring one. And you can see I'm doing multiple stamping of the bubble bath because it's really light and I want it to be a little more intense. So I'm doing 2 or 3 depending on how it comes out. Yeah, and people would just rock up with, you know, a little picnic basket, some beers, a bunch of friends, and they'd just bowl, hang out in the sunshine, and go on their way. Okay, let's bring in this one. Should just fit in there. My dies. Okay. Yeah, so lawn bowls are pretty big here in Australia. Many neighborhoods have a bowling club. There's one near where we lived in the apartment. There's one about 2 blocks from my house here. And like most sports clubs here in Australia, they are both a sport and social venue. And we haven't gone and tried them, but you can just show up and get food and drinks. And they run a little pub, basically. And like I said, I haven't tried it, but you could. Okay, we'll get a couple of these. Yeah, so what is it? Pétanque in France. I can't remember what they call it in Danish. And it's, you know, they're all very similar, but have little subtle differences, I think, in the rules. I don't know, because I haven't really played. Yeah, I should try it sometime. I should do a lot of things. There we go. There's those 3. And let's bring in this piece. One more of these. So when I line up, I'm lining up the petals up top, the leaves, and then I make sure that stem is visible down there. And let's get one of these tulips on. And again, you have to check because they just have a little hole there, and I just want to see the black of the stem peeking through. There we go. I did get out and get some yard work done a couple days ago, which is a good thing. We've got this lovely hedge that screens us from the sidewalk and street in our front garden, but then we have to make sure it doesn't get too overgrown and block the footpath. So I went out with my hedge trimmers and knocked that back. Did some other trimming and weeding. Thinking I might see if I can get out and do some more this afternoon. Finish filling up our yard waste bin before they come collect it tomorrow. There we go, flowers and a vase. Dies back on the magnet sheet. Get all those out of the way. Okay, let's see how we're traveling here. So I think I want one of each of these. Like that. That one didn't cut so well. I think it matters more here. There we go. Okay, so I am going to bring in just a little bit of sticky tape to tack those together. And I could have done a dot of glue back behind there too, because then I want to get this under there, because I really want it to look like it's coming right out of the neck of that vase. So again, I could use tear and tape, I could use glue dots. Sticky tape works just fine as well. So that's going to go on there. We'll bring in some dimensionals to do that. Obviously, if you didn't want to put any sentiments at all on this, that's up to you. There we go. And now this one. I am... Yeah. So you see what I'm doing here? I'm making it where I want them. Trying to make them where I want them. And what I'm going to do actually is put another piece behind it, because I think that will wind up helping. That one I wanted low. This one I wanted high. There. Hey Louise, thanks for joining me. Glad you could make it. So I'm just using a little bit of sticky tape to stick those down. I'm going to check here. Yeah, this one is over too far. It does not close. So I'm going to pull that out and scoot it over a bit. Trying to decide if I want to bring that one to the front maybe. Okay, so I'm going to bring in a glue dot for this one, I think. it down in there. So I can see now. Pull that one up a little more. Going to snip off a little bit of this leaf. It's folding, so we'll just get rid of it so it doesn't add to the bulk. And I'm going to bring in another glue dot. Come here. Right on that leaf. Hold those two together, and then that won't move so much. Okay, so that's totally in there. Everything is moving nicely. Still, I have stuff. There we go. I got it. Okay. So, there we go with that. Now I'm going to bring in my sentiments. And back to Pretty Peacock. I'm going to say, grateful for your friendship. You get me, and I appreciate that. I think we all have those friends. We probably don't tell them that enough. Okay, so now it's time to add that in here, and that's actually really quite simple. I'm going to see if there's more glue in this one. Well, apparently so, right there. It's going to go around. And then you just want to align this evenly. I'm just going to hold it in place for a moment. And then you're going to do the same thing on this side. I probably didn't want to go quite that close to that edge. But I'm going around all of where it's cut out and a little bit in the middle here. And then just close that up on it. And then that opens up. And I'm going to bring in, whoops, a little more ribbon here. Yeah, I could add a little bling. There are some cute butterflies. There they are. But again, I've got those pulled for my class this weekend, so I'm not going to pull them out. But those could be cute on there. But I'm just going to leave that plain. There are my two. Very similar, but color inverted, color swapped cards. that's what I have for you today. If you have any questions or you want to see this again, there are links to the replays in my next blog post, which will be at nancysniftynotes.com. It's always the same name as the video if you're looking for it well after it's been posted. You can find the blog post just by searching on the name of the video. If you have any questions, concerns, if you want a demonstrator in Australia, I'm happy to fulfill that role. If you want a demonstrator in another market and don't know who and want to ask me for my recommendation, I'd be happy to pass that along as well. Reminder, if you are intrigued by any of these materials and you think you want to start purchasing your own stash, right now there is just the most incredible joining special. And for a very small amount of money, you wind up with a lot of product for free, including free shipping, which is not insubstantial. And then you get 20% off your additional orders for at least the next couple of calendar quarters, and depending on how much you buy, for longer than that. You do not have to do any of this demonstratorship stuff that I do. You can be a hobby demo, which means that you've joined just to be able to get the discount. That's basically being a VIP customer. And I'd be happy to talk to you about more of that. Once again, you can find all kinds of links to that and to me at nancysniftynotes.com, or reach out by email, nancy@nancysniftynotes.com. So I will see you again, same time, same place next week for another project, and we'll see what we make. Thanks for joining me today. Bye-bye.